A very pleasant Thursday morning to you. Welcome once again to Un-Tengle on the Bridge 99 FM. Want to say a very special morning to all those on the bridge. Want to say enough respect to our selector selecting some sweet, sweet music. Give thanks, because trust me, it's all about the bridge and the selection and all these wonderful things. So good morning, Bridge Nation. Good morning, Un-Tengle team Un-Tengle morning. And of course, you know, we're live from the Malacca, and the Malacca is right on the Bridge 99 FM, and that is where we untangle. Make we have a little discussion. So Lafayne?
Yes, Mama, morning.
Morning. So,
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you also. Before we start the conversation, we have been having a lot of conversations off the air.
Yes.
So me tell the listener them about the voice note where Lafayne send me. So Lafayne, I did with laugh and I said, boy, me take her for puppy show now. I only fit take me for puppy show. Tell her we are around. But let me tell Melissa them something. You see me? You have certain things me don't know nothing about. But you see my brother, that's why I want, you know, that's why I kind of like
Bridge
people.
generational.
Don't you me like bright people. Yes.
But Mama, well, if you know what I mean, I know, so.
We just be bridging the generation
Yes,
gap.
exchange of knowledge.
Exactly. Same way so it go. So that's what's happening. So just let our listeners know exactly what the story is, and then we can start talking.
Right, so this gentleman, I'm asking Peter John to put it up on the screen. He was the DJ and slash dancer, resident DJ and dancer for the Ellen DeGeneres show. It was cancelled, I think, last year, but he was with her for approximately 10 years, right? He came on, she reached out to him before he appeared on the show. She loved So You Think You Can Dance. He appeared on that show, so she saw that. She's a big fan of that show.
Okay.
She saw him, contracted him to teach her a few dance moves for her show, and subsequent to that, he became her resident DJ and dancer. Now, the show got cancelled, I think, last year, and of course, you know, he was at home still doing his thing on TikTok and all of that. And yesterday, news broke that he allegedly committed suicide. So, according to the reports, he checked into a motel. He left his home, didn't drive his car, left his home with a small bag, checked into a motel. And then when he didn't check out, the hotel staff went to check on him, and then they found him in the room unresponsive with a gunshot wound.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well,
Investigations are still ongoing because, you know, people have their speculations about what could or couldn't be, you know, the result. But as it is right now, it's alleged that he committed suicide. Yeah.
You know, I hear you, and we always have to use the word alleged.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we have to assume that the news is accurate, but
Yes.
oftentimes it's not.
Yes. Only him and the Almighty know what really happened.
Exactly. And, you know, because of the space that, you know, people like him occupy, you know, with the big ride, you know, the big leagues. And,
Hollywood.
And exactly. And you just never know. But let us assume that the news is accurate,
Right.
you know? And would you think that it's probably because of the cancellation of the show and the fact that him not...
I thought about that, you know, because when something is a big part of your life and it ends, people deal with grief or experience grief in different ways. So when something that has been such a huge part of your life has stopped or has ended, then all right, where do you go from here now? And then with COVID and everything, and you have your family, and who knows what would have been going through his mind, even though he was still very present on the internet, you know, dancing with his wife, because his wife was also on the show. So You Think You Can Dance. I think that's actually where they met. So got married, they had children. So he was always on the internet dancing, you know, bringing joy to people, making them smile. Clearly, he was a bubbly person, full of life, full of energy, all of that.
You know, you have to wonder, though, you know, what goes through someone like that, what goes through his or her mind.
Exactly.
Because, you know, you have a young wife, you have a young family, and if you are depressed, I mean, have you ever even thought about how they will feel when you know, do that? So, all right, a lot of it happens, you know, they say quite a bit of suicide cases. It depression is definitely a part of it.
Yes,
You know?
definitely.
So if that is so, well, let us talk about mental health.
Yes, and they say it's a silent killer, depression, because I mean, I could be sitting here and depressed and people wouldn't know because it's not something that you can see. You can't readily identify unless you know it's really severe depression and you know the symptoms of that. When people withdraw, they don't want to be around people, they don't want to eat, they don't want to take care of their hygiene. So those things you can identify to say, okay, they may be depressed, but otherwise it's not something that you can see. You can't really look at a person and say this person is depressed. You know, look at Robin Williams, this other guy who was a Power Ranger star. He allegedly committed suicide last month as well. So it's not something that you can look at a person and say that they are suffering from depression.
Yes. You know something, Telefane, sometimes it takes even the individual suffering from depression to actually come to terms with the fact that this is what is happening.
Acknowledgement.
Exactly. To actually acknowledge that either they're anxious or they're depressed or whatever. So, yeah, that's
the first step. And I remember recently I was traveling in a taxi and we saw a man walking on the road, you know, in the vicinity where the studio is, and the taxi driver was saying, oh, I knew one that, you know, because the guy was basically boxing ear, you know, and he was very angry. So he looked like, okay, he was saying that's a new one because the clothes still fresh and whatever, but clearly you could see that he was not of a sound mind, unfortunately. And I started conversing with the taxi driver to say, why is it that we have so many homeless or men with mental illness on the street? Is it that they're not equipped, or they don't know how to deal with their problems, or they don't have an outlet, they don't have the support system that women may have? Why it is that it seems so easy for them to lose their mind?
Well, and that's the $1 million question, because most people suicides are committed mostly by men. And I'm not sure of the statistics, but it's well over 70% of suicides are committed by men. And what is interesting also, Lafayne, is that they say that more women suffer depression
exactly
than men, but somehow we
have support systems, and I think women, we talk more, we're more emotional. They say we're the more emotional sex or gender, so we talk more. And I don't know if society, I mean, we're having this discussion that maybe society puts a lot of pressure on men to always be okay, to have it all together, so they feel as though maybe that they can't express, and if they do, they're probably seen as weak, or if they show emotions, or if they cry, or all of that. So is it that, you know, society places too much pressure on them, and on the flip side, is it that they're not acknowledging that I'm not okay and I need help?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I really think it's both, because you talk about the societal pressure on men, and you know, don't want to get specific, but if we can just picture the societal pressure on men generally, can you imagine the added pressure on a black man?
Exactly.
Because of all that he has to face.
Exactly.
You know, so we're looking at it, you know, and we really do see that there is a lot of pressure placed on men.
There is.
And then you mentioned also, you know, from childhood the boys are taught that they must be tough.
Don't cry, big man don't cry, and all of those kind of stereotype.
Big man don't cry, but him find a way to let out all of that
to
anger.
Release, yes.
And it's not pretty.
Yeah, most times it's unhealthy. And I always said, I mean, I wouldn't want to raise a child, especially a male child, in like places like America, because they deal with so much. It's so heavy, racism, all of this. Just the fact that you're black, or what you're wearing. If you wear a hoodie or whatever, you're cast as a criminal, or, you know, a thug or whatever. So it's really, and I think this generation, we need to break that cycle or that curse in terms of how we raise our boys and girls, you know, and love them and show them that it's okay to express, it's okay to feel, and show that something is not right with you. Right. It's fine.
You know, sometimes we live in a society where it's either this or that. Because you can ball and still be tough.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can be feminine and still be rough. I mean, you know, if you toughen up. I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? You can be very feminine and still be strong.
Exactly.
And you can be very male and vulnerable.
Exactly.
So I think it's either that or is that. You either love me or you hate me. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, but you mentioned some things that are very important about changing the way how we look at things, because a lot of what is happening to Lafayette is that the traditional roles of men are changing very quickly.
Yes.
And a lot of men can't deal with it.
True.
In the sense that women are now being more informed.
And empowered and independent.
There you go.
So they don't know how to deal with that, and they feel intimidated by it because they feel like they cannot provide, or if they are not able to, then that takes away from who they are as a man.
Absolutely. And we also have to learn how to deal with it as women, because sometimes the intimidation actually comes from us.
That's true.
And that is why, you know, it is not so much of a male issue as it is a family problem.
Family. And you know, recently we're having a discussion in the office. You know, we always have these kind of intense discussions off ear, off camera, and we're talking about how in our black communities, in our Caribbean communities, we don't express love in a very affectionate way. We know that we provide for our children. We know our parents provided for us. We went to school, we had food, we had a place to call home, but that love, that hug, you know, telling them that you love them, that was absent in, and still is absent in many homes, unfortunately.
Absolutely. I know too many people who grew up like me, who don't know what it means to be hugged, not so much by their mom,
Right.
but by their dad.
Yep.
And you know, it's a vicious cycle.
It is.
Because
It is.
that dad probably was never hugged by his dad.
Yep.
So him do have a clue how to go hug
That's
you up,
it.
you know.
That's it. And then if you go hug him, probably maga say you are, you know.
I have a very wise dad, and quite intelligent, and I had to teach my dad, okay,
That's it.
to hug me up.
That's right.
Because no, and I did this when I was as an adult. I said, stop it.
Yes.
Because it's like, you know, what that for?
They're so emotionally closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say to my mother, you know, that daddy, I can't say daddy uncomfortable with when me I hug him up.
Yeah.
And me I go make him hug me up. And me I go
That's right.
force him to, and she was right there behind me. And I did.
Yes.
And therefore we just have to just break the stereotypes.
Break the cycle.
You know? Because sometimes you see a man being, you know, vulnerable, and you don't even realize how much, you know, it took from someone
Yes.
else within the space
Yes.
to take him to that point. You know, we soon have to break. But what about counseling? Are we in a space where men really accept counseling?
That's a very touchy subject, you know, Mama. I always think about it because where do you go? Because you have these, a lot of people are counselors now, but I don't think men especially feel comfortable with the notion or the idea of counseling or therapy. I think. Peter John said older men are versus younger men. So maybe younger men now will go, but older men, they're like,
Definitely
Yeah.
not.
mad people
Definitely
something.
not. No, mumbo jumbo. I can just imagine telling all my father and female age group say he need counseling. Okay, no man. First of all, me ask me is what me talking about.
Exactly. They
Because
are
they
versed
never have the
in it.
concept of they don't have the concept of that. But okay, probably younger men, hopefully, are more understanding of it, and you know,
Yeah.
But I really do think that the men need to express their emotions And a lot of our men have serious bottled up emotions.
Yes, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, unresolved.
A lot of unresolved trauma, sis. And it's not like we don't have ours to, but you said it. We have ways of expressing it. And they may not. I see groups of men coming together now,
right,
who understand exactly how harmful that is. And men who are men,
yes,
who man can identify with, because probably that's another thing, them probably do identify with some of the man them who vulnerable,
right.
But I see men, leaders of families, leaders of businesses coming together now,
yes,
and showing their masculinity and their vulnerability.
Exactly. And we need to be our brother's keeper, because sometimes the compassion is very lacking. If we see somebody, we're more ready to take out our cameras or to ridicule them or whatever. But if we see somebody in a moment of vulnerability, then be more compassionate, instead of judging or criticizing or ridiculing them.
Absolutely. It's an issue that the village have to deal with as times change.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much again, sis, as we untangle the trending.
You're welcome, Mama.
And we just want to remind our listeners that we're going to do this. We claim says 5 minutes.
5 into 50.
What you guys say? No go so. But we're going to continue to do it Tuesdays and Thursday, right?
Yes.
So thanks again, Lafayette.
Yes, Mama.
So it is now time for us to have this discussion with Mr. Cleon Porter. Mr. Porter, good afternoon and welcome to the Bridge 99 FM. So should I say welcome again?
Yes, welcome again. Good morning to you and the wonderful staff of Bridge 99. And good morning to the wider Jamaica.
Absolutely. All right. So we spent quite a bit of time one morning talking about the Self-Help Disabilities Organization. So for those who didn't hear that first interview, just briefly tell us a little bit about the organization and how long it has been functioning.
Yes. So this organization started about 20 years, but 14 years now we officially registered. This organization was started by Miss Bridget Johnson Beckett. She's now off the island. She's a heroine. Been through so much to get this thing started, and now we have our office at the WhatsApp Grove community in Portmore. It started to deal with only Portmore persons with disability in Portmore, but to find that our effectiveness and our vibrancy, it spread across the entire Jamaica. So we have members, we have over 300 members, and we have members in different parishes, and we don't refuse them to come and join. Once somebody comes, once they have a disease, we allow them to come and join. So we advocate for persons with disability, and we see right now in Portmore, because of our advocacy, Portmore becoming accessible and friendly for persons with disability. We still have more things to accomplish as relates to getting things 100%, that's not 100%, but we are getting there, and we train persons to repair wheelchair, because we are the only organization.
All right, we don't reach there yet, but we're going to get there. So what are some of the main challenges with persons living with disabilities? What are some of the main challenges that these people face?
Main challenges that these is accessibility, transportation, big problem. Transportation is a big problem. One of the main problem, and the economy, because of their challenges, they are not able to gain employment readily and easily. Notice that Jamaicans kind of losing this touch of being caring, and that's not good. And so we want person to be more caring for a person, understand and know that it's not every disability is one that you can readily identify and see.
Right.
So we have to know that there are other disabilities that you might cannot see. So we have to be caring and understanding.
All right. So I can imagine there must be economic issues finding employment, and as you say, accessibility. So, are persons with disabilities part of your board of directors? Are they staff members? Are you practicing what you're preaching?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, man, anything we have to practice what we preach. We're talking about inclusiveness. We like to, we want to encourage persons. So they are part of our management board and staff, volunteers. Yes.
Okay, all right. You mentioned wheelchair repairing. What are you can tell us a little bit more about that, and also tell us some of your projects, your current projects that you're working on here right now.
Yes, so there are few clinics and small doctor offices that know about the wheelchair repair program that we do, so that it offer employment to members in that section on our compound. So they will come to us and we repair these wheelchair and for a fee. So as I said, doctor's office and clinics, they link with us. We want to go bigger and better coming next year, trying to get some more equipment and so that we can cover the entire Jamaica.
Self-reliance must be a big part of your drive or a big part of your current project to help to get those living with disabilities to be self-reliant. Is that so?
Yes, definitely. Entrepreneurship. Yes, because that's why we teach person how to make soap. We teach them sewing. We have sewing machine and things that they make out of sewing, different items that can go on the hand, make us chain and those things. And we have a section at our office where we display these items, and many times other organizations where they have in their different type of educational here, they invited us to us and set up a booth. So we display members' artwork at these booths, and they're able to gain money from this.
Okay, great. Any other projects that you think we should know about that you're working on to make life for those living with disabilities a little easier?
Well, one of the biggest challenge, as I said, transportation. We would like someone in Jamaica overseas to donate a vehicle to our organization where we're able to reach these people in the trenches, the gullies, the valleys, the hills, because what happened is that there are the government offer many different types of assistance for members, persons with disability, but they are not aware of it, and awareness is the key. So we need to, we want to be able to go there and sign them up, register them, because it's not everybody is able to come to us. So we have to go to them. Right. So our transportation would be greatly appreciated. That is my aim for next year.
Wow. I hear you loud and clear. That would just be wonderful, especially transportation that really caters to people who have disabilities. That would be just perfect. So we're on the internet, so we're just hoping that people listening, can just give you a shout out at some point. And as we said that, for those who want to give you a shout out, how can they?
Well, they can contact this number, 876-846-1267. That's 846-1267. And our email address is PSDO@gmail.com.
Okay. All right, fine. All right. So as I can just imagine the demands that come upon you and your organization and the other directors at this time of year, because everybody's so busy rushing around doing all kinds of things and sometimes forgetting that there are others who can't do that. What situation do you find those living with disabilities? Are they more challenged at this time of year?
I'm glad you bring up this point, because right now, last night, I got a call from a member in the Spanish Town Hospital. He's even a pastor, and he went there for a pneumonia situation, and he's now in bed sore right now because he's not getting the level of care of his voice note. And we're going to take on this thing serious because we were seeing at the Spanish Town Hospital, we're getting a lot of reports from persons with disability. They are not being taken good care of, and these people having bed sore. Right now, I couldn't go back to sleep when I listened to the voice note 4 o'clock. We're going to do something about it. This level of care is breaking down. It's not good.
So let me ask you something though. Let us say, okay, the hospital might not be doing what they need to be doing. Is there a way of an organization like yours getting help for some of the hospital staff or the ward staff? Would they accept help from volunteers who will take care of these patients?
To that question, we have the answer from
The hospital.
the hospital itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's throw that question though, because if the hospital is so understaffed that they can't adequately take care of people, especially people who can't take care of themselves, then there must be some kind of organization, either Friends of the Hospital or some kind of organization. Let us know who can come on board and help, because at the end of the day, we don't really want to. Because what we really need is help.
Help.
Yes.
Definitely.
Right. All right. So that is that. So hopefully, we will get the kind of response that we're looking for. So let us talk. No, we take a break first. I think we need to take a break, and then when we come back, we can talk about the gala event. All right.
No problem.
All right. So we're gonna take a break. So we have as our very special guest, Mr. Cleon Porter, and he's one of the directors of the PSDO, and we're talking about the organization, and we're also talking about ways that people can be supportive of the organization. One of our listeners just wrote a while ago, and she says, as a mother of a youth in a wheelchair, I really look at how challenging that must be in Jamaica. It is very challenging. It's challenging everywhere, but like you said, my sister, it's even more challenging in Jamaica. And so this is why we reach out, especially to those overseas, for that kind of strength that we need. Right, Mr. Porter? Your mic again. Right. All right. All right. So let us talk about this gala event now. Before we even start talking about the proceeds, let's talk about the form that it's going to take.
Okay. Yeah, so this gala event will be on the 19th of December, and it will be at 5 p.m. at the Portmore Heart Academy. But most persons also know as Portmore Heart Academy. So
Right.
the gala event should have been taking place on the 3rd, but it postponed, through different circumstances. So we are merging it with the Christmas dinner, annual Christmas dinner and dinner party for persons with disabilities, because as you know, we are dealing with inclusiveness. The able-bodied persons are always keeping their functions and enjoying themselves. So we can't left out persons with disabilities. So we have this event for them where they can come and eat and drink with everyone. And there is some persons and sponsors from the inception started the organization. Let the organization here it is up now. So we'll be awarding some of these places at this event. And at this event, even the police is getting involved. The St. Catherine's Sound department is getting involved by the team by Miss DSP Baker will be there handing out basket for persons with disabilities, care packages for persons with disability.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so you said it's an annual Christmas dinner. Do persons who are able-bodied, do they support this event, or the families of those who are disabled?
Yeah, we get support, but I think the support that from the able-bodied, we don't get as much that we should get. It's just a tiny few. You understand? Mm-hmm. So it increased over the years though, the support, the amount of persons, it increased over the year. So we'll see how next year turn out, see if it
All
continues
right.
to increase.
You broke up a while ago when you were telling us about some of the sponsors. You want to tell us again?
Yes, this event wouldn't come through without these sponsors. But first, Bridge is one of the first sponsor I have to highlight, because it's a bridge. You have a good name. I give this radio station a good name, because that bridge is what connect the disabled with the able,
Beautiful.
and our voice be heard. So bridge, understand, CEO, Mr. Elise Kelly, everyone, pick up yourself and let you know what that bridge, so that both institution can cross. Yes, man, we appreciate it. May your food basket never empty.
Thank you very much, Cleon. You remember the last time we spoke when we said to you when the conversation did finish?
Yes, I remember. I remember, man. Remember.
Mr. Receipt even more and more as time passed. Yes. All right. So
quickly,
yes.
quickly, Moment with God Broadcasting Network, COK Solidarity First Caribbean International Bank, JMMB Bank, Nurses Association Credit Union, WB Trophies, Roots FM Jamaica, Gospel JA, Child Case Medals, Pepsi Cola Jamaica, Fragrance and more, Abigail B. Dazzle, Shop Charleston, Betting Game and Lottery, Best Expression Jamaica, Bank of Jamaica Credit Union, Jamaica Urban Transit Company, Sports Development Foundation, Galaga Insurance Broker. These are our sponsors.
Okay, great. That's quite an impressive list there. And the proceeds, what the proceeds going towards?
The proceeds?
Yes.
Well, everything that is done is to finance the gala, and for
Right.
persons to come and eat, drink, and they will receive the baskets and different things. So that is what all the sponsorship go towards, to
Okay.
keep the event, just to keep the
Beautiful.
event, and to hand out goodies
So this
for
is the
persons with disability.
this is this really makes me feel good, because I always thinking about the lonely at times when people are gathering, so this is their moment to just come together as a family and to just celebrate.
They can't wait. I'm telling you, we're getting
I can imagine.
we can't wait.
Beautiful. Thanks for just constantly doing what you're doing with the enthusiasm that you do it with. Please send our love to your team members, because we know you can't do it alone. To your sponsors, bless them up, because it cannot happen without our sponsors. And just continue to be passionate about what you do, Cleon.
Definitely. We'll never stop. Next year, gonna be bigger and better. I'll tell you already.
I believe you. I believe you, right?
Bigger and better.
Yeah, I believe you. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thanks for being here. Good afternoon, Beau-Regard.
Good afternoon, Mama Kelly. How are you doing?
I am very well. How are you?
Great to hear your voice. I'm doing wonderful. We're expecting crazy rain this evening, so
Really?
we are prepared for that. Some heavy rains, heavy showers this afternoon, they're saying.
Wow.
So,
Has it been
yes.
snowing where you are?
Well, we got some snow Sunday morning, I believe it was. We got a thin sheet of snow.
Oh,
It was either Sunday morning or Monday morning. Monday morning, one of those mornings.
okay. Not the kind of snow that you have to dig your car out of.
No, you just have to brush off some off of the windshield and you're gone again.
I
But
love that kind of snow.
Yeah, it basically by the time the sun came out, it basically evaporated. Yeah.
So no.
But we know that every snow is on its way, Mama. So we're also gearing up for that as well.
Mm-hmm. And that one
Yeah,
there,
man.
the so no.
May I tell you, I'm not a backbreaker.
Wow.
But it's good when you have 4 young strapped in sons.
Oh, yes, like you.
Yeah, them can help out.
And I'm sure, the last time we spoke about that same thing, and I remember you saying that them also can help out with the neighbor them.
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
I
man,
used to
that's a
do that
nice
when I first came here, Mama Kelly. That was a joy for me. When the snow fall, and you can go out and go through the community and you ask the elderly, and people wanted their driveways and the sidewalk shoveled. You made some money, some
Yeah,
money,
man.
and you put some money in your pocket. You can go out and do a little shopping and
Yeah, man.
buy a thing here and there. So
That's so good.
that's how a lot of young youth start off with their hustling and become business minded as well.
Right, right. That sounds good because an robbery is an exchange. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Okay, so what the part of snow that I actually like when we consider, sometimes we there at that burn snow. I mean, is nature. The part of snow that I love is the part where you just spoke about, where it's falling lightly, and it lightly covers the foliage of the plants. Just lightly cover
Yes.
it,
Yes.
and you can just take your hand and just knock it off. Oh, that's beautiful. That's lovely. Very nice.
Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. When we first experienced snow, mama, it was a joy for me. Until I
Yeah.
realized what happens after the snowfall.
Oh my,
Something-
oh my goodness! And it's, you have to do it.
yeah, and to this day, people who experience snow for the very first time, it's always a pleasant experience.
I love to see
Yeah,
it,
it's
especially
always-
as you say when it's light. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
But
So
you
what
know,
else
mama,
happened on your side? Yes.
Well, over here on this side, yesterday actually marked the 10th anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting that left 20 students killed and 6 school staff members also dead. That was 10 years ago at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. It was a tragedy that brought outpouring of demands for tighter gun control across the country. And those, even though it was 10 years ago, we have seen more and more school shootings since, and mass shootings and things of that nature. But to the families and those who were affected 10 years ago by that shooting, yesterday was a 10-year anniversary.
Condolences, because every time you have an anniversary, then people bawl and you remember it back all over again. But it's part of the process.
Yeah. Also, this side, mama. Well, even in Jamaica and the rest of the world, everybody's have their eyes on the World Cups right now, as we saw where Morocco gave a miraculous run towards the semi-finals, and they got eliminated yesterday by France, who is now looking forward to take on Argentina in the finals on Sunday. So now the big talk of it all now, Mama Kelly, is that before Brazil got eliminated, the whole of Jamaica they look like Brazil. Now that Brazil gone, the whole of Jamaica look like Argentina.
Yeah, it's true. Can I tell you something? The other day I was at an institution, and they were watching football on the TV, and I think it was when I don't remember which side did I play. I think it was I don't remember which two side, but it was before it reached this stage, right? And there's a man. There was a goal, right? So the side that scored the goal, a man in front of me kept saying it offside, and them now go give them the goal. The man behind me, I said, no man, no, them go get the goal, them go get the goal. You see, when them never get the goal because they did offside, the man behind me said, they not that me, they not tell you no long time. Me I said, but don't this man here, where did back of me, I said, them go get the goal. Immediately, film out just turned, and that is football.
Yeah, man, that's like Mama Kelly. You have to stick with your side though, because some people are gonna realize when you have flip-flop, and know say you're wagonist. So you have to kind of stick with your side when you choose a side. Unless your side get eliminated, some people will, start choose the next side. But some people, them just flip-flop. Them go with whoever them feel like they are them see.
Can I identify myself as a wagonist? Yes, because I am. I am. I will start out liking one side, and just like you say, them leave. And then I forgot like a next side.
Nothing wrong with that, mama. Nothing wrong with that.
Because my liking France now is because the whole of the African them in there.
So, and that's what a lot of people are saying. It's the United. Mr. Erwin Clear said it best yesterday to me. He said it's the United Nations of Africa that is playing for France right now.
Oh my goodness. That's an interesting way to put it. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because there are African nations, people from African nations that are represented.
Absolutely.
Mama, I want to say, I just send something to your WhatsApp. If you get a chance, you can actually take a look at it real quick.
So
but
my
other than
WhatsApp.
that, yes, I sent something to your WhatsApp.
Okay. All right.
Other than that, Mama Kelly, there are some tornadoes that touched down in the south yesterday evening, and we're having our eyes on that as well, because a lot of people have been affected by these tornadoes that touched down. People are without power, people are without light and things of that nature. So it's very crazy right now.
Wow. I see. I see the thing you're saying, but so I can't listen. I can only look. That, you know,
You can listen.
no, I can't listen. I can't listen while talking to you. What? I can't listen while you say I can't listen.
That's a Brazil fan after Brazil fan.
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Can I be very honest though? Oh look at he's so comforting him. He's
A Portugal fan.
You know, I'm a Brazilian at heart, you know. Hey, watch this now. Here, my producer, just when I said I'm a Brazilian at heart, my producer say, me's a Brazil fan. I tell you the truth, I'm a Brazilian at heart. Honest to God.
Yeah, as most Jamaicans are, Mama Kelly. Nothing is wrong with it.
Yes.
Nothing is wrong with it. Big up our reggae boys, same way, you know. But you know,
yeah,
when they don't represent, everybody say Brazil.
Well, I saw one of my colleagues, DJ Wayne, the other day in a supermarket. And this is DJ with a brand this reggae boy shirt. That's in the heat when the heat at the finals, yeah. You know? so we said to him, say, what's up with the shirt? I must say, what do you mean, what's up with the shirt? A reggae boys may carry. You see me? So, and we respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because sometimes we feel a little silly saying, I'm a Brazilian. You know, but you know what I mean, though.
I know exactly what you mean, Mama.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. You know, I came across an article the other day, Mama Kelly, and in this article, what was being said is that a man in the UK, he's going to court right now because the prosecutors against him is saying that he committed a hate speech because he referenced something. He quoted a scripture from the Bible, and it had to do with two lesbian women that he saw walking. He's a street preacher, and he said to them that, you know, you guys are going to hell. He basically quoted a speech from the Bible. Now the prosecutor in the case is saying that the Bible there are scriptures in the Bible that are no longer relevant to today's society. What do you think about that?
Oh, he decided that.
That's what the prosecutor is now saying, that the Bible is no longer relevant in today's society.
No, he said there are scriptures in the Bible.
Yes.
You know, that just one up for injustice. I mean, you know, now them can decide which one's relevant.
True.
No, them can decide which one's relevant. Simple. Because, I mean, you know, look at the loopholes there. There's gaping loopholes there. Because now it can be decided in court which ones are going to be relevant.
I just found it, Mama Kelly, and I wanted to read it perfectly before we go any further. UK government prosecutors argue parts of Bible no longer appropriate in modern society. Lawyers for the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, of England and Wales tried to have a Christian street preacher convicted for quoting the Bible to a lesbian couple, insisting that the scripture is no longer appropriate in modern society.
To be honest with you, I agree that there are scriptures that are no longer applicable, like, for example, stoning women who are, you know, said to be unfaithful to their husbands, that kind of thing. And even the story of Jesus saying, who without sin cast the first stone, is stoned, they must stone in woman. So I kind of wouldn't think that it could have worked out. No. So there are passages in the Bible that on your own time you can decide if they're relevant or not. My issue is that it is now going to be determined. Its relevance is now going to be determined in court. I have an issue with that because that don't sound like justice to me.
And in England, where we have freedom of speech here in the United States, we have a constitution that protects that. You know, in England, I think the laws are a little bit different. You know, when it comes to things that you can just say openly and get away with it. So I still have to do some more research on England's law to actually find out how they go about those things. Just the way we have freedom of speech and it's protected here in the United States.
It is?
Well, the Constitution is there, but, you know, sometimes it gets violated.
You know, that's my point. I mean, you know, That's my point. It's set up in such a way that there are loopholes, and people who are lawyers or people who understand law know exactly which ones to violate. We don't have that privilege because we don't have the information. So again, it's just one up for the minority.
Right. Right.
And the majority, as usual, left out of the loop. Anyway, we're going to take a break. And we have live online Jabulani Tafari. Jabulani, good afternoon.
Hi, Elise. Greetings to you and to all of your listeners worldwide.
Okay, give thanks. So we are actually streaming live to the tri-state as we speak. So we have two hosts, myself and Beau-Regard, who is in New York. So we're both going to be talking to you, okay?
Greetings,
All
greetings.
right, yeah, big up New York City.
Blessings, greetings.
Okay, so Jabulani Tafari, for those who don't know, is an author and a producer, videographer from long time. Author
Long
of the
time.
book, long time. And author of the book, A Rastafarian View of Marcus Messiah Garvey, and of the book Rastafari in the 21st Century. We'll talk a bit about that. So for those who are not aware of who Jabulani Tafari is, could you please enlighten them?
Okay, basically, I'm a communicator, multimedia journalist, been in radio and TV and print media for over 30 years now. Started off right next door, you, Elise, at the JVC in Kingston when you were at JIS.
Right.
And, you know, traveling abroad, I've published the Roots Reggae and Culture magazine, along with Priest Dougie, through Roots Foundation. We keep an annual Marcus Garvey Roots Extravaganza to celebrate the life and legacy of the Honorable Marcus Garvey. We keep that in Florida for the last 18, going 19 years. So, you know, we are just people servants doing the work of the community and spreading the word of Rastafari and Black unity and African redemption and all of those kind of things. That's I in a nutshell.
Right. And Beau-Regard, I know you're listening. As you heard Jabulani say, we worked together or close to each other because we used to borrow the JBC TV. We would broadcast through them. And Jabulani Tafari, as a youth, we were all young then. But Jabulani Tafari was just this light among us. And you know, when you have an individual that's very clear about what it is he's here for, and is always on a mission to do just that. So that was the Jabulani Tafari that we all knew. And we always knew that, you know, he would be successful at whatever it is that he did. So we just want to put that out there for those who mission-minded. It makes sense.
And if I could say, right now, it was rough in those days. It's still rough now, but maybe rougher in those days. And to be at the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation, I was the first Rastafari news reporter to appear on TV as a news reporter with dreadlocks, even though I had to kind of mask it behind my head in a little lion tail or ponytail. That first time.
That's where we're coming from.
These are the barriers that we had to break down in those times. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were a reporter. What kind of a reporter were you at the time?
I worked in the newsroom, so I started off on the radio desk and ended up on the TV desk. When Mr. Siaga fired the whole newsroom staff in 1980-81, I was left as the only person able to do the television news. So I was putting on the major newscasts on the air every day for about 2 years. Regardless of how much herb I smoke or never smoke, you know, the whole country seeing my work, and it was successful that even though they wanted to get rid of me, they had to keep me because I was doing the job.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how we remembered him. And we remember Jabulani Tafari would, you know, opposing with grace. You know, there is a way to oppose, and you showed us how to do it. You showed us how to just stand firm in who you are, and that spoke volumes.
Give thanks. Good words.
All right.
But if we can talk about the reason I'm here now today, to talk about this documentary that I'm a part of.
Right. All right. So tell
And-
us. Go ahead. Go ahead, Beau-Regard.
And that's the question I had for you, sir, Mr. Jabulani. What made you decided to wanted to do this documentary to cover these 10 days with the Prince?
Well, I was part of the Rastafari embedded media that traveled along with Prince Sir Myers and with Brother Mikey Barnett and Priest Dougie and the organizing committee of the visit. And along with videographer Young Ras, Ryan Hahn, who shot most of the video. We had veteran cameraman Roy Sweetland, who I call an honorary Rastaman. I, along with them, were the embedded media. So we were shooting video and we were shooting still photography. So we ended up with about 30 hours of video of some very memorable moments 6-7 years ago in 2016, when Prince Sir Myers, as the president of the Ethiopian Crown Council, was here with an entourage, including his wife, Princess Saba Kabede, and they were commemorating the 50th anniversary of the state visit of his grandfather, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, in 1966. And at the time, the Emperor was the first African head of state to visit Jamaica, following Jamaica's independence in 1962. And all of Jamaica, not just Rasta, ordinary people by the hundreds of thousands turned out at the airport, lined the streets everywhere he went, from Kingston to Montego Bay. So it was a welcome given to a head of state, the likes of which has never been seen before or after to this day, when Jamaica turned out for that most memorable moment.
Jabulani. Yes, tell us the significance. Tell us what you've just described a while ago. Tell us the significance of the 2016 visit of His Imperial Highness Prince Ermias, and coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the visit you just spoke about. Historic significance.
The visit of Prince Ermias now was to commemorate that most significant moment 50 years earlier, and to show that there is still a link between Ethiopia and Jamaica. The Prince was most pleasantly surprised. I've heard it said that maybe the event wasn't well organized and maybe the Prince wasn't happy with what took place. But, if you come on out and see this documentary for yourself, the Prince repeatedly states what a wonderful occasion it is for he and his wife, and that they will never forget the warmth of the Jamaican people in general and of the Rastafari community in particular being shown towards him as a member of the royal family, towards Ethiopia as one of the brightest stars in Africa. That symbiotic relationship. He says it has only grown when he sees what's taking place at the Haile Selassie School. And when he visits the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, he says in his time coming to Jamaica, I think Brother Michael brought him here the first time in around 2007, and he's been here to Jamaica a few times since that. And he says he can see the growth of these institutions, and he's getting to know more about the love that Rastafari has towards his family, his grandfather, and himself. Because although, the whole world has heard of Rasta, but now if you weren't born in Jamaica and you're a part of it, maybe you've heard a lot of propaganda and there are things you still have never experienced for yourself. So this occasion gave him and his wife and his Ethiopian delegates a chance to experience Jamaican hospitality and Rastafari hospitality. And like I said, it was some momentous events, and we captured it from a Rastafari viewpoint, through
from that
Rastafari
perspective,
camera lens in this documentary.
That's an interesting way to capture it also. You speak a lot about how the prince saw his visit or how he internalized his visit. You were with him for 10 days. What were your first impressions of him just as a prince? And did that first impression linger?
Yes, because as most Ethiopians of his stature, right now, if you know Ethiopians, they are not overly boisterous. So there is a certain composure and dignity to their behavior. Not loud. He speaks quietly. You know, he's thoughtful. And as I said, for him, it was a learning experience, this whole occasion. So it was a moment of growth for him, his wife, his delegates. It was a moment also of interaction for I and I who were part of the entourage and got to interact with him. And I mean, it covered a wide area. We went up to Bubba Hill, to the Bubba Ashanti Sabbath service. We went downtown Kingston to Oxford Street to visit the Church of Rastafari with Abuna Fox. The Prince spent some time up at the 12 Tribes of Israel headquarters on Hope Road. And in the latter part of the tour, after the official thing, he spent some days in Montego Bay and in Western Jamaica now, desensitizing. He had some leisure time, some rest and relaxation. But on the 7th day of the 10 days, he went out to Pickford Nyabingi Center in Montego Bay and spent some time with the Nyabingi congregation there also. So he visited, like I said, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church on the Sunday for the Palm Sunday service. He was hosted by the Marley family up at the Bob Marley Museum.
Extensive.
The delegation also made courtesy calls on the Ethiopian consulate in Kingston. We went to Jamaica House to visit with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Minister Babsy Grange, who was the one who welcomed him at the airport and provided a lot of the transportation and the police protection, which was excellent throughout.
Wow.
And we had a wonderful, speaking as a Rasta man, I can say we had a wonderful interaction with the police throughout the whole time.
It sounds like a very extensive visit.
It was an extensive and lovely visit, and anybody who don't believe that, come and see the documentary for yourself tomorrow evening. It's happening at the Social Science Lecture Theatre 1, starting at 5 p.m. This is at the UWI Mona Campus, and it's right beside the Faculty of Social Science building. And for people who don't think Rasta can do quality productions with, I call it roots with quality, as Third World say. Right now, I and I are roots with quality. Come on out and you might be pleasantly surprised at what you see and what you hear. You may see yourself if you were a part of the events in 2016, or you're sure to see someone you know, because there were many people in the crowd.
So Jabulani, let me ask you this. All of what you just described a while ago, all those extensive tours, all those visits, were you there? Was your camera there? Did you capture it, most of it, if not all?
Yes, my sister. That is exactly that. That's why we say 10 days with the Ethiopian Prince, because we went day by day. We had footage from he arrived at the Norman Manley Airport and the whole reception out there until he boarded his plane at the Sangster International Airport, which is where His Majesty had left from to go to Haiti. But no, he was flying back to his home away from home in Washington with his wife, and the camera captures the plane taking off to prove that we were there.
Wow.
You know, I Jabulani, it's great to see that the Prince Ermia Selassie had a wonderful time and that you all were showing him some hospitality and giving him a wonderful tour of our island, Jamaica, when he got here back in 2016. Even to go back to his grandfather's visit back in 1966, where he visited UWI Mona Campus and also helped to dig the foundation for a school that was founded and built.
School.
Exactly. Yes. And in fact, we must also big up the school coming off of a successful football season. Big them up.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
Even
yes,
though they
yes.
lost to Tivoli in the Walker Cup, but big them up same way. And also Ziggy Marley who also helps to contribute to that football program. The question I have for you though is, how do you decide after capturing 30 hours and spending 10 days
That's
with the
exactly what I was
Prince?
going to ask.
How do you decide what you're going to let the rest of us see in this documentary?
Well, it's just as with, I guess, any kind of film or filmmaking or documentary making. There is a whole bunch of footage, and you have to go through to find the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. What's giving the biggest message, what footage looks the best visually. That's why I say, I big up Ryan, because at first I was interacting with him as a young cameraman. I used to work at JBC, which had some of the best video and film cameramen in the Caribbean and maybe in the world. So I know good footage when I see it. And the footage I saw this young brother give me to edit was excellent. So and if you know anything about Roy Sweetan, you know that he's an excellent cameraman also.
Yes. Wow.
So between the video footage and the still photography, the visuals are great. And
Okay,
the
so
story behind it. No, I wrote the script. So this is all like a Rastafari insider's view of this visit.
How long is the documentary?
The documentary is 2 hours in its entirety. Tomorrow we'll be showing a 60-minute highlight. And they asked me to cut it down for this occasion. So it's 60-minute highlights. I left out a couple of the days, and some of the other days we kind of shortened what you see to fit it into the 60-minute time slot, so you won't get bored. It will be over before you know, and you may want to see the whole thing. But it's 60 minutes. It took like about 10, 11 months to edit. You ask me how I got down 30 hours to 2 hours or an hour. It's like tedious editing, over months and months, almost a year. So
and discernment.
It's a work of love, and we'd love people to see it and judge for themselves.
And you have to be very discerning doing that job, Jabulani, because I can just imagine you with footage that everything looks important before you. Everything looks significant.
Well, you remember Inside South Africa? That was the first documentary I did while still at JB Blind. We used to call it JB Blind and not JBC because they never really give I and I as youth no real freedom, so it's like they were blind to I and I humanity, so we call it JB Blind. And while I was there, I did a documentary called Inside South Africa, wisening up the people about the whole business of apartheid and why there was a sporting boycott at the time that Lawrence Rowe and some other West Indian cricketers had broken the boycott to go down to South Africa. And we did a video that highlighted apartheid and the whole struggle, and that took me 3.5 years to edit that one.
Wow.
And that was coming now with news footage coming right out of the newsroom, along with some other footage that had come from England that they gave to Dermot Hussey, and he gave it to me because he knows that African things is my things. And we put in, we did the first set of reggae, what you call it, reggae videos, because we used a reggae soundtrack in this documentary, Inside South Africa. And I put visuals to Bob Marley music and Peter Tosh music and Muta Baruka music and Dennis Brown music and that kind of Miriam Makeba. All of these songs were Inside South Africa. So
all right,
that whole process of editing, I've been doing it a long time, so I have to just stay with it till completion.
All right. Let's get to retracing the footsteps of the 10 days with the Ethiopian Prince. This is a difficult question, but after editing it down to 2 hours and then to an hour, what would you describe as the highlight of this documentary?
For me, right now, Roots Foundation is a part of the screening tomorrow, along with the Department of Sociology, Psychology, and Social Work, with Professor Mikey, otherwise known as Professor Michael Barnett. I call him Professor Mikey. Right now, we are the ones behind it. And we've had the Haile Selassie School as our pet project since 2007. The elder, what's his name now? By sometime my head take me and I can't remember one's name. You know. There was an elder that every Labor Day he used to go down there and he used to sweep up and clean and paint and all of these things. And when he became more elderly now, he couldn't manage it no more. And I said, boy, make we take up the school as our project. And we have done that over the years. Sidney da Silva is who I am talking about.
Okay.
Sidney da Silva used to perform that works without pay, even if it's him one, for years and years and years. So I take up the school after that, and I'm glad to see that more ones are helping in whatever way possible. So for us, the school is near and dear. And the event, the civic function at the school on the second day, the Friday afternoon, for me, is the highlight. Because the students were there, and the MP for the area, Portia Simpson, was there. The mayor of Kingston, Angela Brown Burke, was there to present the keys of the city to the Prince. You know, the students performed, they did dances, they sang. We had other artists as guest artists who came along and sang. The previous principal, Mrs. Barnett, who is like the godmother of the school, came and said a few words and encouraged the Rasta community and the wider community to help look out for the students, because, you know, they say it takes a village to raise a child.
That's
that means
right.
It takes all of us out on the street. We are auntie and uncle and big brother and big sister. So we have to help the students, encourage them to go to school and attend classes, encourage them to do their homework, encourage them to study maths and science and history and all of these things, because our educated people, it's a better people and a more prosperous people and a more productive people.
And this was His Majesty's passion.
That is what His Majesty promotes. That is what I and I promote, and people don't know these things.
Yes.
Education.
That is what we are trying to put across with everything that we do. You know, there's a message in the real music. And we are still pushing that message, the same message of Marcus Garvey, to be self-reliant and all of these things. You have to be educated and know things and can do things.
You know, Jabulani, the passion that you speak with, of course, a lot of it is because you were actually there. But a lot of it is also the fact that you have been passionate all your life about these issues. They say if the lion does not tell his story, the hunter will.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
And
it wrong. Give you propaganda.
Yeah, man. So let us talk about the importance of telling our own story.
Well, the business that you and I and the brother in New York, that we are in media, that is why media is so important, and often we waste the tool that we have at our disposal with trivial things or cas or the little celebrity, you know, stuff, where Marcus Garvey was a publisher and a printer, and he used his platforms, whether media platforms or when he was live at an event, he used it to try to uplift his people and to make them have a sense of identity and a sense of self-worth, and to encourage them to work together for collective security, for surety. All of these things that Garvey was about and His Majesty was about is what Rasta should really be about, even though some of us have forgotten what this whole thing is all about, and it's like people are giving up the struggle through things rough all over the world, but have to keep on making our light shine and keep on working toward that goal, because otherwise we just have to give up and dead.
So the documentary world premieres tomorrow, December the 16th at 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. is the event at the Social Sciences Lecture Theatre 1 at UWI Mona Campus. For those of us who are not in Jamaica or won't be able to be at Mona Campus tomorrow, when will the documentary be available to the rest of us?
I'm just listening out. I can't tell you a specific time and date right at this moment. I know we are planning to try to show the full-length documentary probably in April, which will be the 7th anniversary of the visit. So we'd like to probably do another public screening at that time somewhere. And as to like online availability and whatever, just like I say, listen out. You'll hear whenever that takes place.
Without sounding too previous, after this has been shown and people, are satisfied with this, when can we look out for some of the extra footage that you haven't shown?
We'll see. Right now, like I said, usually when you're doing this kind of work now, you shoot what we call B-roll, or my brethren Peter Robinson used to call it cutaways. So you shoot a lot of extra footage so that if there's any shot that you might need to fill a space in production, you have the biggest choice possible. After you go through and you pick out the choice pieces, it's some B cut and some C cut and some D cut throwaways left that there might be some stuff there that some more things could be done with, we'll see. But a lot of it is like I say, it ends up on the cutting room floor, never to be seen again. There's better other things to move on to. The next documentary, whatever that is.
We also see that tomorrow at the event you'll have some artists performing and there will be an award ceremony taking place as well. Tell us about that.
Well, Prince Ramayas had sent some awards a year after the event. Prince Ramayas sent some awards to be given out to the organizing committee. And through whatever mix-up, only about half of those awards were given out. So the other remaining half of the people who were never recognized will be recognized tomorrow. And some of the artists now, I don't have that. I know. I see
Mikey General, Warrior King.
Mikey General,
Warrior King.
Herman, Warrior King.
History
and
Man.
there's assistant History Man too. And there's a sister
Aisha
name
Bell.
I don't remember.
Aisha Bell.
Aisha Bell, thank you very much, my dear. Yes, so all of these artists were a part of the original event in 2016. So they're going to grace us with a little of their talent and presence also tomorrow evening. So it should be a nice affair. I say, let me say, come on out, and you might be pleasantly surprised at what you see. So, be a part of it.
Well, thank you so very much, Jabulani Tafari, and I can say this, your passion is contagious, We can just feel your 10 days from your voice, and we just want to be a part of those 10 days. You have sold us, for want of a better word, to come out and see this documentary. Thanks for continuing to be passionate about what you do.
Well, part of the passion that you hear is you and your host bring it out, because you've been most gracious hosts and, very professional and have asked good questions. So I'm glad to be a part of this conversation on these airwaves. So people, we call on your intelligent awareness when you hear all these kind of programs on the radio. For support the advertiser them and support the radio host them and think about these things that you hear and put them into action. Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. If our people don't know their history and their culture, you're like a tree without roots, and anything without roots, wither and die.
Withers away. Well said. Give thanks again and blessed love.
Blessings.
Wonderful.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
What an inspiring conversation. Wonderful.
True.
That's
Definitely.
Jabulani Tafari. And there the text coming in, big up Jabulani. You remember Jabulani? For those who remember Jabulani, them sending in the text like wow. So give thanks again. And Jabulani Tafari, you heard him say that he is the producer of the documentary, Retracing the Footsteps of His Imperial Majesty, 10 Days with an Ethiopian Prince. And he was really there. So I can just imagine, because I know the professionalism, I know exactly what kind of work he gives. So looking forward to seeing that. The footage alone.
Mama, I wish I was in Jamaica. I really would go sit there and actually watch this 1 hour worth of highlights. To tell you the truth. This is why I asked the question, you know, when can we have access to it as well? So I will definitely be looking out for the whole documentary.
Right, and we can ask Dr. Michael Barnett because he's always available, so we can just ask him to follow up this interview for those who want to see, who couldn't get to go to on campus and want to see the documentary. A lot of people want to see this documentary, you know.
Right.
I mean, just the energy that the team carried with them, supposed to translate and in that. Believe you me.
And it's also nice that the Prince actually remembered, you know, the committee and sent its appreciation in the form of some awards. That shows that he appreciated it, what everybody did towards his visit.
You know what I found interesting, what Jabulani said? When Jabulani said that the Prince was very appreciative, it reminds me of when His Imperial Majesty came to Jamaica. People said all manner of things of what he said and what he didn't say. And for those who were there with him, in the same way that Jabulani was there with Prince Ermias, have a totally different story to tell. And that's why it is so important for us to tell our own stories.
Yeah, true indeed. As we can see, you know, most of our history, Mama Kelly, we only have one side of our history right now. You know, when people think of black people and where they've been, they only think about slavery.
Absolutely.
You know, so it just goes to show you that we have to keep our history alive.
Absolutely, and if we see ourselves as kings and queens and members of black royalty, we have to behave accordingly, and really like Bridget, like those, keep your passion alive.
True. Wonderful interview, Mama Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah,
so one of my sisters says a long time in my trad. For those of us who know back in the day, we remember Jabulani, man. Everyone remember Jabulani, and the names that he called, the crew that he said he had from back in the day, 18, man.
You know, Mama Kelly, I also want to remind you that yesterday marked 2 years since Nurse Sandra Lindsay from Northwell was the first person to take the vaccination for the COVID-19 here in the United States. So we
never celebrate that already.
Yesterday marked 2 years.
Okay.
Since that happened, you know, so big her up, same way. I got the chance to meet her, as I told you before. She's now Northwell Health's Vice President of Public Health Advocacy. So congratulations to her. She also met with President Biden, and you know, big things are going.
This quotation I was looking for before, it says, cockiness and arrogance always find someone who is one better. Cristiano Ronaldo, in an interview, said he was sent to this world by the god of football to teach the world how to play football. A few days later, Lionel Messi was asked how he felt about Ronaldo's statement. Messi replied, "I don't remember sending him."
So Messi say him are the god.
You are the god. You hear that?
They know I'm buck up our Sanchez. Beat one cross one. Mama Kelly, we have about 10 seconds left, Mama Kelly. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, and we'll do this again next week. Jamaica, to take care.
Looking forward. Bless up New York. Okay, so thank you very much, Beau-Regard of Ira Jam Radio. And thank you very much for joining us in the Global Connection, and of course a wonderful and spirited conversation with Jabulani Tafari. Thanks again. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. And remember, we do this again on Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the morning, though, on a Tuesday, and 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll leave you with one big heart of love. Nikki, my darling, long time no see, but a heart of love, same way. Bless up yourself.